This black man held two little girls who had already passed away, crying out. But everyone believed he was the murderer, so he was sentenced to death and thrown in prison. The prisoner John had just arrived at the prison. As soon as he entered, all the guards were intimidated by his stature. With such a burly build, it would be difficult for the guards to subdue him if he caused trouble. Even all of them come together, it still seems like an impossible job. But Chief Guard Paul noticed that John was not as aggressive as he looked. He looked terrified, asking if the lights could be left on at night because he was afraid of the dark.
Because I get a little scared in the dark sometimes, if it's a strange place.
And he shook Paul's hand at the end of their meeting. A few days later, another prisoner arrived at the prison. Unlike John, this prisoner looked frail and unable to take care for himself. All the guards underestimated him and lowered their guard around him. Only John quietly warned Paul that this prisoner was dangerous. Before the guards could react, the prisoner attacked them, knocking all the guards to the ground. Only one guard held a baton, but he didn't dare approach. This guard is a bully. He liked to harass prisoners who didn't dare fight back. But when a prisoner started fighting back and knocked down all the other guards, the guard was too scared to approach the prisoner. Fortunately, the deputy warden arrived just in time to subdue the resisting prisoner. While trying to subdue the prisoner, Chief Guard Paul was unfortunately struck in a vulnerable area. He already suffered from chronic prostatitis, and this strike caused him to fall to the ground and unable to get up. But the prisoner, John, called out his name, demanding that he come over. Having no other choice, Paul went to John's cell. Suddenly, John grabbed his collar and reached down toward his crotch. The other prisoner thought John was going to kill Paul, so he shouted for other guards to come help. Strangely, the light in the cell suddenly got brighter and finally the light bulb exploded. Then a swarm of insects flew out of John's mouth. Paul was shocked and asked John,
"What did you just do to me?"
John simply replied, "I healed you," and then turned to sleep. Paul went to the bathroom and found, miraculously, that the inflammation that had plagued him for years was completely cured. After this incident, Chief Guard Paul began to doubt whether John, with his magical powers, could really have killed the two little girls. So he went to the lawyer handling the case, but this lawyer was so biased. He firmly believed John was guilty. But Chief Guard Paul still believed in John. Because there was a prisoner worse than John. This prisoner was pure evil. Not only did he constantly torment the guards, he also tried to escape. Even in solitary confinement, he continued to do as he pleased. Once, this prisoner grabbed a guard, kept him close, and said,
"Warden."
The guard was so scared that he wet his pants. But this guard was a bully himself. He didn't dare resist this terrifying prisoner, but set his sights on another laughing prisoner nearby, planning his revenge. Electric chair is absolutely one of the most terrifying sentences in America, but many people don't know that a wet sponge needs to be placed on the prisoner's head during execution, otherwise the prisoner will die in extreme pain. However, this prison guard, just to get back at the prisoner who mocked him, intentionally put a dry sponge on the prisoner's head during the execution. As a result, the prisoner died in extreme pain. What this prison guard didn't know was that the prisoner he killed was good friends with prisoner John. Prisoner John had a very magical ability. He could save lives through a touch, and at the end he would spit out a large mass of worms. The guards had seen him use this ability to revive a dead mouse, so they decided to sneak him out to cure the warden's wife's cancer. But after he cured the warden's wife's cancer, he didn't spit out any worms. Instead, he returned to his cell in extreme pain. As the guard who killed his friend passed his cell, John directly grabbed the guard and spit a large mass of worms into his mouth. After eating the worms, the guard had a dazed look and killed the most perverted prisoner in the prison. Chief Guard Paul understood why John wanted to get back at that guard, but he didn't understand why John killed that prisoner. John thanked Paul for trusting him, so he pulled Paul's hand over to show Paul the most horrific crime that prisoner had committed. This prisoner showed Paul what really happened to the two little girls. It turned out the real killer was another prisoner in the jail. He had killed the girls by using their love for each other.
"You making a noise, I'm gonna kill her, you understand?"
Chief Guard Paul couldn't bear to see the girls' painful deaths. He let go of prisoner John's hand, but John's powers meant he have to constantly endure others' pain of dying.
That's the way it is every day. That's the way it is all over the world.
Chief Guard Paul didn't want to execute an innocent man, so he went to John's cell, wanting to help him escape. But John refused. He didn't want to keep enduring this pain. His only request was to watch a movie before his execution. Looking at the happy scenes in the movie, John smiled from the bottom of his heart. Soon it was time for the execution. Many who thought John killed the girls came to watch.
Does it hurt yet? I hope it does. I hope it hurts like hell.
John felt the audience's hatred, but the guards knew he was innocent and comforted him.
I feel how we feel that. We don't hate you.
Then John sat in the electric chair, but requested the guards not put a hood over his head. Chief Guard Paul granted this request, but couldn't bring himself to give the order to execute.
You have to say it. You have to give the order.
The other guards also had tears streaming down their faces. Paul went up, shook John's hand like when they first met, then painfully gave the order to execute. Afterwards, Paul requested a transfer and for the rest of his life never executed another person again.